Okay, today we're going to talk about the skeletal system. So we've talked about a little bit of this in class, so some of this will be review of what we've already discussed. But let's go ahead and do it. The functions of the skeletal system are, number one, support the body. Yes, you stand up because your bones hold you up. So being able to stand upright is due to your skeletal system and your bones. Secondly, protecting organs. So your rib cage and your vertebra and your sternum are protecting vital organs, your heart, your lungs, many of the vital organs. It's no accident that the ribs are around those. They are protecting them from an animal goring you or being killed in battle or something like that. So protection. Number three, providing movement to bones. So muscles move our body, but muscles can't move unless they're attached to a bone. So muscles move the body by pulling on two different bones to create that movement. So we'll talk about how muscles attach to bones and how they work together in movement. And then storing minerals and fats. The main mineral stored in your bones is obviously calcium. Phosphorus is another important mineral that's stored in our bones. When our bodies need calcium or phosphorus, we can actually just take that out of our bones. And if you don't get enough calcium in your diet, you'll get weakened bones because you'll strip too much calcium out of your bones. And the middle of your bones, the marrow, some marrow is white. It's white because it's fat. It's where we store excess fat. And then red marrow in your bones. Red marrow is our stem cells that produce blood cells. They produce red blood cells and white blood cells. And we'll talk a little bit about them too when we get to the immune system and how they form different types of white blood cells. But all blood cells are produced by the red marrow in the middle of our bones. So those are the functions of the skeletal system and our bones. And in terms of the parts, obviously the main part of the skeletal system are the bones themselves, right? There are 206 of them, of which you'll need to know about 20, 25 or so for the test. And you have the diagram which goes over those. Joints, there are several types of joints. Ball and socket joint, like your shoulder. Hinge joints, like your elbows and knees. And pivot joints, like your wrist. Remember, a defining characteristic of primates is these flexible joints we have that make us or allow us to live in trees and also allow humans to make tools and weapons. So flexible joints. Cartilage, again, cushioning bone on bone so that when you jump up and down, when you pound on your bones, the ends of your bones have cushion to absorb that, and that cushion is composed of this protein called cartilage. And then ligaments. Ligaments hold our bones together, and a common sports injury is a torn or damaged ligament because of cuts or getting hit in joints. We can cause tears and damage to those ligaments, and they take a long time to heal. So if you get a damaged ligament, you're usually out for a long time. Okay, in the lab when we looked at the tissue, we looked at bone tissue, and a lot of people were kind of confused by what they saw. So first, I asked you to label the lacunae. Okay, so the lacunae are these rings that go around the bone. You can see they look like rings of a tree, okay? And within those rings are the bone cells. A technical name for them is osteocytes. Osteo means bone, cyte means cell. So the osteocytes are these cells, and they can kind of move around in there, and they can actually lay down calcium and deposit calcium. They can also deposit or dissolve calcium when we need more in the blood. So they are both building up and dissolving bone as is needed. As you guys saw or will see in the body story video, they were going around and repairing bones and adding calcium where they were needed. So those are important, the cells within the bones. And then those the central cavity, which contains blood vessels, that's basically how these bone cells get fed. They get fed by blood vessels that won't run through them. So the bone we looked at in lab was compact bone. It was very dense, right? Other bone is spongier, and it's basically just not quite as dense. It's got more sort of sacs in it. I don't want to say it's air sacs, but it's filled with fluid within the body. So we have spongy bone and we have compact bone, but these bone cells form these rings called lamellae in the compact bone, and that was what we looked at in the lab. Okay, so here's the skeleton. You already have this diagram. You've labeled all of the important bones you need to label, so keep that. You'll need to know that for the next test. And that is a very quick review of the skeletal system.